May 29, 1453, Constantinople. The sky above the ancient city is still black. A cold wind sweeps across the walls that have stood for more than 1,000 years. The massive stone defenses of Constantinople rise from the earth like a fortress built by giants. 3 layers of walls, moats, towers, battlements. For centuries, they have stopped every army that tried to take this city. Arabs, Bulgars, Rus, Crusaders, all of them failed. But tonight, something is different. In the darkness outside the walls, an army waits, nearly 80,000 men. Soldiers from Anatolia, the Balkans, and beyond. Cavalry, archers, Janissaries, the elite infantry of the Ottoman Empire. And towering above them, machines the world has never seen before. Cannons, huge bronze monsters capable of shattering stone that once seemed indestructible. Their commander stands in silence on a hill overlooking the city. He is only 21 years old, Mehmed II to his soldiers. He is their sultan to his enemies. He is the man determined to end an empire that has lasted more than a millennium. Inside the walls, another leader prepares for the final assault. Constantine XI Palaiologos. He commands barely 7,000 defenders, Greeks, Genoese, mercenaries, volunteers, priests. They know the truth. If the walls fall tonight, the Byzantine Empire will die with them. Cannons roar. Stone explodes. Janissaries surge forward. Torches light the battlefield. And somewhere in the chaos, a single gate may have been left open. Historians will argue about it for centuries. Because if that gate had remained closed, the history of Europe, the Middle East, and perhaps the entire modern world might look very different. This is the story of the final war between the Ottoman Empire and the Byzantine Empire. The war that ended one civilization and launched another. The fall of Constantinople. For more than 1,000 years, Constantinople was the most powerful city on earth. Founded by the Roman Emperor Constantine the Great in 338 AD, the city was built to dominate the crossroads of continents. Europe to the west, Asia to the east, the Black Sea to the north, the Mediterranean to the south. Whoever controlled Constantinople controlled the arteries of global trade. Silk from China, spices from India, grain from the Black Sea, gold, silver, weapons, ideas, everything flowed through this city, and its defenses were legendary. The Theodosian walls built in the 5th century were among the most sophisticated fortifications ever constructed. Massive outer walls, a wide moat, then a second, taller inner wall reinforced by nearly 100 towers. For centuries they made Constantinople nearly impossible to conquer. Armies could surround the city. They could starve it. But breaking through those walls was another matter entirely. Yet by the early 1400s, the empire those walls protected had been reduced to a shadow of its former self. The once savest Byzantine Empire had shrunk to little more than the city itself, a few scattered territories in Greece, and not much else. The real power in the region was rising to the east. The Ottoman Turks, what began as a small frontier state in Anatolia during the late 1200s, had grown into a military powerhouse. Under leaders like Murad II, the Ottomans expanded across the Balkans, defeating Christian armies and absorbing territory at a relentless pace. Serbia, Bulgaria, much of Greece, all fell under Ottoman rule. By the mid-15th century, Constantinople sat like an island of Byzantine control inside an expanding Ottoman world. It was strategically intolerable. The Ottomans needed the city, not just for prestige, but for geography. Constantinople controlled the narrow waterway known as the Bosporus Strait. This strait linked the Black Sea to the Mediterranean. As long as Byzantium held the city, it could threaten Ottoman communication between their European and Asian territories. It was a dagger pointed at the heart of their empire. For young Sultan Mehmed II, the solution was obvious. Constantinople had to fall, but many doubted he could do it. He had already attempted the throne once before and lost it. At just 12 years old, Mehmed had briefly ruled the Ottoman Empire before political chaos forced his father, Murad II, to reclaim power. Many within the Ottoman court viewed the young prince as inexperienced, reckless, dangerous. But Mehmed never forgot the humiliation. He spent years studying warfare, strategy and engineering, languages, history, the campaigns of Alexander the Great, the conquests of the Romans. And always, he thought about one thing: Constantinople. For centuries, Muslim rulers had dreamed of capturing the city. Prophecies circulated promising glory to the commander who would take it. For Mehmed, the conquest was not just strategic, it was destiny. In 1451, Murad II died. Mehmed became sultan again. This time no one would take the throne from him, and within months, preparations for the greatest siege of the medieval world began. Across the walls in Constantinople, Emperor Constantine XI faced a brutal reality. His empire was dying. The Byzantine population had collapsed. trade had shifted. Western Europe had grown stronger while Byzantium weakened. Even worse, the empire was divided internally. Political factions argued constantly over relations with the Catholic West. Some wanted military help from Europe, others despised the idea. In 1452, Constantine XI made a desperate move. He formally accepted a union between the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Roman Catholic Church in hopes of gaining Western support. It was deeply controversial. Many citizens in Constantinople hated the idea. Some even said they would rather see a Turkish turban in the city than a Catholic cardinal. The hoped-for Western reinforcements barely arrived. A few hundred soldiers, some ships, a small contingent led by the Genoese commander Giovanni Giuliano, skilled, brave, experienced in siege warfare, but nowhere near enough. Constantine XI now faced an empire-ending invasion with perhaps 7,000 defenders, against an Ottoman army that may have exceeded 80,000. The emperor understood the odds. He also understood something else. There would be no retreat. If Constantinople fell, there would be no Byzantine Empire left to rule, so he prepared to die defending it. Mehmed II approached the campaign methodically. First, he secured control of the Bosporus in 1452. He ordered the construction of a massive fortress directly across from the Byzantine stronghold of Janissary. The new fortress Janissary was built with astonishing speed. Within months it dominated the narrowest point of the strait. Any ship attempting to reach Constantinople without Ottoman permission could be destroyed by cannon fire. It was an iron chokehold. Then came the artillery. Mehmed recruited a Hungarian engineer named Orban. Orban built something unprecedented. Gigantic bombards capable of firing stone cannonballs weighing hundreds of kilograms. One of them, the largest, required 60 oxen and hundreds of men just to move it. When fired, it shook the ground for miles. For the first time in history, medieval walls faced siege weapons powerful enough to break them apart. This was not simply another siege, it was the beginning of a new era of warfare. Gunpowder was about to rewrite military history. The Ottoman army reached Constantinople in April 1453. Tents stretched across the horizon. Siege towers rose above the camps. Cannon batteries were positioned along the land walls. Inside the city, Constantine XI organized the defense. The walls were divided into sectors. Giustiniani and his Genoese troops guarded the most vulnerable section near the gate of St. Romanus. Monks carried supplies. Citizens repaired damaged walls between bombardments day after day. The Ottoman cannons fired. Stone shattered. Dust filled the air. But the defenders worked through the night, rebuilding breaches. For weeks, the walls held. Then Mehmed tried something audacious. The Byzantine navy controlled the harbor known as the Golden Horn. A massive chain stretched across its entrance, preventing Ottoman ships from entering. So Mehmed decided to bypass it entirely. One night, Ottoman engineers greased wooden logs and created a makeshift roadway over land. Then they dragged dozens of warships over the hills surrounding the harbor. By morning, Ottoman ships floated inside the Golden Horn behind Byzantine defenses. The city was now threatened from two sides. Morale inside Constantinople began to crack. May 29, 1453. The final assault begins before dawn. Ottoman drums echo across the battlefield. Torches flicker. Thousands of soldiers prepare for the attack. Mehmed launches the assault in waves. First come the regular troops. Light infantry sent to exhaust the defenders. They charge the walls. Arrows rain down. Greek fire erupts. The attackers fall by the hundreds, but they keep coming. Next come the Anatolian regiments, better trained, better equipped. They push ladders against the walls. The fighting becomes savage, hand-to-hand, sword against spear. Giustiniani leads the defense personally, rallying soldiers along the breached walls. For hours the defenders hold. Then comes the final wave. The Janissaries, elite soldiers of the Ottoman Empire. Disciplined, relentless, they advance in tight formations toward the main breach. Cannons have weakened the walls near the gate of St. Romanus. This is where the city will live or die. Giustiniani is struck by a cannon fragment. Severely wounded, his soldiers panic as he is carried away from the battlefield. The defensive line falters, and somewhere nearby a small gate known as the Kirka Porta may have been left unlocked. Ottoman soldiers pour through. Inside the city, the walls are breached. Constantine XI refuses to flee. He removes his imperial insignia so his body cannot be identified. Then he joins the fighting as an ordinary soldier. Somewhere in the chaos near the walls, the last Roman emperor disappears. His body is never definitively found. By mid-morning, Ottoman banners rise above Constantinople. The city has fallen. The casualties are devastating. Thousands of defenders die in the fighting. Many civilians are killed in the aftermath. Byzantine resistance collapses completely. After more than 1,100 years, the Byzantine Empire is gone. Mehmed II enters the city later that day. He rides through the ruined streets toward the great cathedral of Hagia Sophia, once the largest church in Christendom, now silent. He orders it converted into a mosque. Constantinople becomes the new capital of the Ottoman Empire. The city will eventually be known as Istanbul, but the consequences of its fall stretch far beyond the walls. One of the most critical mistakes of the Byzantine defense was strategic isolation. For decades, Byzantine leaders assumed Western Europe would come to their aid if the city were truly threatened. But Europe was divided. France and England were exhausted by the 100 Years' War. Italian city-states fought among themselves. The Holy Roman Empire lacked unity. No major crusade came. Constantinople stood alone. Meanwhile, Mehmed embraced innovation. He invested in artillery, engineering, logistics. The Byzantines relied on walls designed for an earlier age. The Ottomans brought weapons designed for the future. The fall of Constantinople changed the world. Trade routes between Europe and Asia became more difficult. Ottoman control of the eastern Mediterranean reshaped global commerce. European powers began searching for alternative routes to Asia. Within decades, explorers like Christopher Columbus and Vasco da Gama would launch voyages that opened entirely new oceans to global trade. In many ways, the fall of Constantinople helped trigger the age of exploration. It also marked the symbolic end of the Roman Empire. A political entity that began nearly 2,000 years earlier had finally disappeared. Yet the city itself survived. Under Ottoman rule, Constantinople became one of the greatest capitals in the world, a center of culture, trade, architecture, power. Mehmed II would become known forever as Mehmed the Conqueror, but the echoes of that morning in 1453 still linger. Because the fall of Constantinople was not just the end of an empire, it was the moment medieval warfare died, and the modern world began. And it all came down to a few hours, a breached wall, a wounded commander, and perhaps a single gate left open in the darkness.